Bam! Jayson Waller, True Underdog podcast, and I have got an Underdog Bites for you today. Today is going to be called Saturday Substance, and I got one of my dudes, one of my fellas. This guy's hilarious. He's got great content. He works for PowerHome. He has grinded his ass all the way up to a new position I can't announce yet, but he's high level, and he is here to have some fun, fire off some questions, and cut up on this Saturday Substance. Mr. Elmondo King, how you doing, baby?
What's up, baby boy? I'm good, man. Baby boy, I got that thing patent, man. So what's up, Jay Walls? I appreciate you.
Everybody call everybody baby boy. I get a little jealous. You're telling me I'm your baby boy, and then you're telling somebody else they're your baby boy. Like, what's the deal with that?
I don't know, man. I just started saying baby boy probably 2 years ago. I think one of the reps said it to me one time. I was like, man, you know who you talking to? I'm your manager, man. What are you talking about? Then it just stuck, man. Baby boy, baby boo, all that good stuff like that. It's just something I like to say. It's fun.
I heard my grandmother she was from North Carolina, and she was a little hillbilly, love her to death. And she used to say britches. So I would make fun of people saying, hey, you got to fix those britches. And now I'm always saying britches. And I'm like, shit, I gotta quit saying that stuff. It's not good.
Bro, we from the country, man. My mama used to always say outdoors, going down yonder and all that good stuff like that, man. So it just fits into that whole little grouping right there, man.
Yonder, britches, outdoors.
Yonder and
like
britches.
All right, so what do you got for me? Today's Saturday. And I just got back. I went to the Lions training camp with Mr. White Boy Rick Wershe Jr.
Nice.
And you know, I don't consider myself a celebrity at all, but I'm on TV a lot. Here I am in a local market at the Detroit Lions thing. They see me everywhere. And I'm walking with White Boy Rick, and not one person says, oh, hey, Jayson. Well, one person did. It was the president of the Lions who knew me because we write a check in a partnership. Other than that, everybody's like, Rick, can I get a picture? Rick. In fact, people like, here, can I get a picture with him? Like I was his manager. I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Bro,
Rick, I love Rick. He's got a huge celebrity following.
You have to make a movie first, bro. You cannot be on and pop until you make a movie. Commercials are cool and whatnot, but you got to make yourself a movie. But I got some fun stuff going on here today, man. So I appreciate you for inviting me here, man. It's the first time I've ever been on a podcast, but I'm going to put your feet to the fire.
Well, it's a top 3 podcast, Elmondo. Baby. And we're on YouTube Live, which I've never done before. So It was a shit show the first minute. My apologies.
We're on
YouTube Live right now, and this stuff will be streamed everywhere. Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it, everywhere. We're good. Go ahead. What do you got?
Let's do it, baby. So rapid fire questions. This is how this works. You got to answer these quick, man. You can't wait on them. You can't ponder. You got to answer them quick. Okay. These are going to be general questions.
Set me up for failure.
I'm not going to set you up. I got you, bro. I got you, man. Okay. So people are going to get to know Jayson Waller as a human being, baby. So you ready for this?
I'm ready.
First question. Favorite movie of all time?
Young Guns.
Young Guns. Okay, I like that.
Have you seen that movie?
I've not seen that movie. I've heard about it. This is the second time I heard of it.
Yeah. It's Young Guns or Rocky IV. It's a toss-up. Flip a coin.
Rocky, bro. You got to go with Rocky, man.
Rocky IV. Young Guns is great too, though, dude. You know?
I'll check that out.
Regulators. That's a great movie. It's a cowboy movie.
I'll check that out, man. Next question. You ready? If you had to plan a date night, what would that look like?
Car comes and picks us up. Mm-hmm. We go to a nice dinner. Mm-hmm. I don't drink wine, so I get like a margarita. My wife is going to drink like water or unsweetened iced tea. Nice dessert. She's got to have a gluten-free dessert. I'll take her gluten, so I'll take extra gluten on my dessert. She's also dairy-free. I'll take extra dairy on mine. And then I'd like to go to the movies. I'm old school. I like to go to the movies, get popcorn, eat licorice. Love movies, and then maybe stay at a hotel, just a little music playing, a little jazz, you know what I'm saying?
Jazz, you know what I'm saying? Knowing you, man, you might have somebody there playing on a saxophone, but it's all good. Let's go to the next one.
I love saxophone music. That's like my favorite. It's true. I have a bath playlist. I don't take baths often. I do shower, but I don't bathe often. But when I do, Kenny G, George Michael, I have a lot of music in there that I like to relax to in the bath. Don't judge. That's just
bro. You a hip hop fan? I didn't know you had anything deeper than that, bro. You like jazz
to have
and all
good
this
music
stuff?
Like that to rest in the bathtub. You can't have Tupac yelling, man, like Thug Life. Let's go. When you're in the bathtub, you can't relax.
I feel
That's the shit to listen to when you're driving or working out. But when you're in the bathtub, to hear that saxophone on some of those George Michael songs or Kenny G is like, you're just like. This is good.
You light some candles around there, turn off all the lights and whatnot?
Don't judge, but yes, I do. Yes,
Bro,
I do.
you shouldn't have said that on here, man. You should have said that. Don't
I got
tell
no
nobody.
shame, dude. I make it cool, baby.
I feel that. You just told me something.
I make it cool, baby boy.
You just told me something that's crazy. You do not drink wine. So what is your go-to alcoholic beverage?
I love tequila.
Okay.
Tequila. And I like vodka. So I'll usually do like vodka and grapefruit juice.
There you go.
Preferred pink grapefruit juice. Or I'll do like margaritas or stuff with tequila. I just, I can't do brown whiskey. It just, And I try to like wine. I can sip on a little bit. I try so hard to like it. I think it's cool. I think it's classy. It's just got a sour taste after. I'm like, it tastes like ass. I just don't like it.
You grow into it, man. I didn't like sweet tea at first, and then I grew into it. You will eventually grow into it, man. You're a growing guy.
I need to. I really want to, because there's so many good wines and people. I get like, oh man, I wish I could eat that and drink the wine after the way they do it. They make it look so great. Then I taste it and I go, it's not that good.
You got to eat it with cheese.
Yeah, something.
All right.
If I get a few drinks in me, the wine tastes better.
It does taste better. Camus, all that good stuff, Silver Oak. I got the next question for you. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Now, you've had a lot of celebrities around you. If not, you've seen them. You've had them on Zoom calls, True Underdog podcasts, all that stuff. Have you ever been starstruck?
Twice.
All right. I want to hear about it. What is it?
Barry Sanders, because he's my favorite player of all time. So the first time I got to meet and hang out with him at Rod Wood's house, he's the president of the Lions.
There you go.
Before we did a deal with Barry. And then when I went to do the commercial with Barry, I was pinching myself like, I can't believe I'm doing a commercial with my favorite player of all time. Oh my gosh, this is great. So that was one. And then two was Donald Trump. And not that I think he's this great human being. I mean, I didn't mind him that much, but my point is he was the president of the United States at the time, and I got to do a round table. So that was pretty powerful. That was pretty like, whoa, next level. And I've met a lot of people, a lot of great people out there, but I don't get starstruck. I have this mentality of I need to be the most confident person in the room. And 100%. I don't want to be arrogant, and I don't want to be a prick, and I don't want to be too good. That's never my goal, because you can cross that line.
Absolutely.
But I want to make it to these celebrities or these football players where everybody's a fanboy. Yeah. I'm not that. I want to act like they need to be happy to meet me.
Absolutely.
And so when I carry that attitude, it really comes to fruition, because then the players are like, who the hell is that guy? Because I'm not like, oh my God, I'm a fan. How are you? I'm like, what up, dude? Like I walk away like I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Even though I do. I
know you do deep down inside.
Yeah. But
dude,
I'm like, no.
Check this out. Jason's a great guy. He actually introduced us, the entire company, to Barry Sanders. He brought him to our Christmas party. And when I met him, he was just like a regular guy. He shook everybody's hand. He's like, how you doing, man? Welcome to the Christmas party. I'm like, what the heck? This is Barry Sanders, man. So I appreciate you for that type of stuff, man, for putting us around those type of people.
He came to my son's birthday party. It was like crazy. And that's where you get surreal. It's never about the money. It's about the experiences and memories, and it's about the lives that you impact.
That's it.
Like you're getting ready to get married. You just bought a house, right? I get excited to hear that you're building success and doing things. And that's the kind of stuff that feels good, not just meeting people or making money, but when you meet people that are genuine. And there are some celebrities that are not genuine.
Oh, I know.
Those folks are tough to deal with, and I don't want to hang out with them. I don't care how cool they think they are. If they can't be real, I like real. There's 100%. No reason to hang out with them.
100%. Well, walk the people through this rapid fire still. What is your morning routine?
Dude, that's always asked, and it seems like it changes. And I don't want to be judged, because you kind of got an insight knowing my ass doesn't show up to work out much. But I get up every morning at like 6. It never ends.
6 a.m. No alarm clock, right?
No alarm. 6. Okay. The sun comes out. I'm up. And I usually, if it's school year, I tell the kids, get up, get ready, and I'm going to take my son and my youngest daughter to school. But then I'll go get a coffee or a workout drink, and I'll get dressed and brush my teeth, and I'll be ready to go, because I'm going to the gym. And if I have them, I drop them off and go to the gym. If I don't have them, I go to the gym and or cryo after. And then I really start my workday around 9 or 9:30. Yeah. Because I'm taking them around 7:30.
Yep.
And that's it. But then once my day starts, and like today, I didn't work out, and yesterday I didn't get to work out. I'm very irritable, and I don't go in and crush it like some people do and work out all the time. Yeah. I like to blend. I like I did F45 recently. I love doing that once or twice a week. I used to love doing Pilates. Yeah. But I like to have a trainer kick my ass sometimes, and then I like to just work out on my own. And sometimes I'm known to pull up to a gym and just sit on the phone because calls, I mean, you know, in our business, Kevin's calling, Ben's calling, Steve's calling, Juan's calling. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't even get out of the damn car. I'm like, shit, I just wasted an hour and a half talking to these fools. And I didn't work out. So then I know I'm irritated, and I work out for my mental stability. Now I want to maintain my shape, which is semi-round. Right?
There you go. Just so like a
half circle.
It's the dad bod.
I'd like to get rid of it, but you know, I'm guilty. I just had some chocolate donuts before we got on this. I'm like, shit, I'm stuffing my face, but that's why I work out, so I can eat what I want. Eventually I'll quit that shit. Not yet.
Yeah. You just said something, right? You said cryo. Explain to the people, what is cryo? You introduced me to this. I had no idea what it was. So explain to the people what cryo is.
So cryotherapy is you go into a chamber that's minus 220 degrees for 3 minutes. So think of an ice bath that athletes do times like 5, right? It's a little bit more intense, and you get in there, and it's a whole body. And you have to keep your head up because they've got some gases in there that are freezing you. But, you know, some people go a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes. The motion goes 3 minutes. I do 3 minutes 99% of the time. And I feel great. So I'm not a runner, right? I don't run. If I run, there's a problem. You better run too.
Somebody chasing you.
Some shit is going down. Turn around and go. You like see Jason run like, shit, I got to go. Where we go?
I'm out.
Freak out because I'm not a runner.
I got you.
You saw we played football. I sit and play quarterback. I ain't running.
You ain't got time for that.
I got time. My knees don't want to run. But I feel like a runner does. Like I ran 5 miles because the endorphins that you get from that, and you burn like 500 calories, but the endorphins you get, you're like,
crazy.
Holy shit. I feel amazing. That is the high that I like. I like to do that and then get that, oh my gosh, I feel great feeling.
There you
to
go.
Start my day or wrap up my day.
There you go. Look, I got a question that nobody has ever asked you, right? If you were to die today, right, and you were to be reincarnated, what would you want to be reincarnated and come back as? What animal? What would it be?
Not a person.
You can't come back as a person. You got to come back as an animal. What animal would it be?
I'd want to be a fucking lion.
You want to be a lion? I knew you were going to say that, man.
I want to hunt. I want to chase. I want to be the king of the jungle, right? I would. Yeah. I'd want to be a lion. And if they were like, you can't be a lion, I'd want to be a bald eagle.
A bald eagle.
Yeah, just
how long do bald eagles live for? Is it owls or bald eagles that live for like 50,000 years?
Probably owls. But a bald eagle would be cool, just soaring through and hunting prey and going like that. That's what I want.
I got you. All right, check this one out. If you had a superpower, what would it be? Now you can fly, you can see, you got X-ray vision, all that stuff out there. That's dope, man. You can read people's minds. What do you want?
I'd want to be invisible.
You want to be invisible? Why would you want to be invisible, man?
So I can see what's going on. I can be a fly in a room of stuff. I want to be invisible. See my kids at school. I want to be invisible when people are doing their job and see what's going on. I think, I think the curiosity in life and not knowing things is important, right? Yeah. Like I don't want to be able to read minds. Flying would be pretty cool, but
that would be dope.
Yeah, but then after you do it, you're like, okay, I flew, right? So that's just, being super strong. What am I going to do if I'm the only superhero out there? We're going to fight, right? Aliens haven't come up completely yet. They're still hiding. So
still hiding.
Yeah, they're still, but I think if I was invisible, then I can inquire certain things and hear certain things that I'm curious about of what things are like when I'm not around. And think about this, just going into some of those meetings when, in the chambers where the president and them are talking about, are they going to go to war? Are they not going to go to war? Go into some of the, just walking into certain things and seeing how things are going. Being a fly on the wall would be cool.
Forget listening to your wife's conversation. You're going straight to the White House. I got you, man. I understand that.
Yeah, I trust my wife. If she's going to say anything or leave me, that's on her. I always tell her, look, if you leave me and I love you, that means I get half my shit back.
At least
I'm not losing. I'm winning. I'm like, oh, you're giving me half my shit back. Thanks. I'm excited. Thank you.
Man. Listen, for you guys that don't know Jayson Waller, this guy he smells good, man. And this is not me just trying to put on or whatever the case may be, right? So true story. We went to South Carolina with the rest of the district managers. I don't know if everybody knows about this, but Jayson was going to bed early every single night. He probably went to bed at 10 o'clock. But his cologne stayed there till 12:30. So he'll get up, he'll leave, but the cologne's still there. It smelled good, don't get me wrong. But what is your go-to cologne, man? What are you spraying on? Talk to me.
Aventus Creed. Creed Aventus. It's the only thing I wear.
There you go. All right. I like the confidence, man. How many sprays?
So now it comes out. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Gotta hit the back of the neck just in case somebody's behind you.
It's like I'm doing a prayer, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And then 5 on the back of the neck. I got you, man. So listen, a lot of people join this call for some substance. Like you said, the name of this is Saturday Substance. So I do have some great questions for you here. You passed the rapid fire testing. Now, let's hear some.
What was the grade I got?
I'll give you probably I'll give you an A on it. You were able to answer all the questions and you went into deep detail about it. So I love it, man. You can answer questions great. So you ready for the substance questions? You ready for these?
I am.
All right. What was your perspective, man, when you didn't have money? You were in the trailer park. You were broke. We could just put it out there, right? What was your perspective on life? What do you feel like? What are you thinking about?
I felt like I was judged in something I couldn't control.
Yeah.
Right. I would go to school and people would make fun of me or judge me, not want to hang out with me, tell me and my friends who, I had friends that were Hispanic, that were Asian, that were Black. Yeah. And we lived in the trailer park. We were all boys and we would go to parties and we would be ran out of there because of where we lived. Not necessarily who we are or our race, but where we lived and how much money we had and what we wore. And it was disturbing. Right. I didn't like the feeling and it was like, I can't control that. Right. Yeah, and 100%. I would relate that to look, I'm not a minority, but I would relate to that's how some minorities you're African-American. Absolutely. You probably dealt with racism in your life where you feel like, oh, well, it's not my fault I'm Black and you feel that way about me. Right. Yeah. I didn't have it on that level at all. So let me first say that. But I had a partial of that of something people were judging me and feeling about me that I couldn't control. Yeah. And that bothered me. Well, I could control what my future looked like. And I could control who I surround myself with. And so I just was on a mission to do that. I mean, even my in-laws at the time, they're my in-laws now, but they judged me, Elmondo. They didn't want to be around me. They were like, you have no money. Like he lives in a trailer. It was hard. Yeah. There was like a battle between my family and Liz's family. Wow, it was rough. And people don't know this, but I went to 5 high schools. I got kicked out of 4 high schools. I got in a lot of fights.
One was with Kevin Klink.
Kevin Klink's never been in a fight in his life, by the way. Not once in his life has he ever been in a fight. He's never hit anybody. He's never been hit. Okay, let's let the facts be stated
right,
there.
I got you.
But he's never got me in a fight either because we didn't go to high school together. We went to elementary and middle school together, but I bounced around in high schools because I didn't get along with people and I didn't fit in. Wow. I didn't fit in. Remember, I grew up with more of my friends were Hispanic than white. Yeah. So I had, and more were African-American than white where I grew up in Phoenix. Like I grew up in the hood in Phoenix. Kevin grew up near me too. Like we were friends in elementary. We were friends in middle school. All my friends were wannabe gangbangers. It was different. Right. So I grew up thinking I was West Side Vadio Hollywood. Like what? Crip. Like that's what I thought I was. Like I was like, yeah, like what? Like I was throwing a blood sign. I was breaking it. I mean, I was 14-year-old punk. Yeah. I go to North Carolina. It was different. It was like, oh, you had these country bumpkins with stuff in their mouth that didn't like me because I had my hair slicked back wearing Dickies. And then you had these Black guys that didn't like a lot of the country bumpkins. And because I kind of maybe looked like them, they might not like me either. I didn't fit in. I'm like, who are my friends? My friends were the people that lived on my street and lived in the trailer park. Yeah. Those were my friends. And we didn't see race. We saw, we live in the same neighborhood. We're boys. Let's go. And that's kind of how we took things on. And so to roll that back, how I put perspective when whatever your issue is in life, right? Whether it's money, whether it's race, whether it's gender, whether it's where you grow up, whether it's the shit that you're being put through, abuse, whatever, you do get to create your own map. And if you find a way, my perspective was, how do I get to control my future and destiny? Well, I got to put it in my own hands and not hear that shit, not hear that noise and focus on one step at a time and work on things. And that's what I did. I was motivated. I took that hate. I took that insecurity, the hate that people had for me and the insecurity that I had. And I took all that and I just boiled it up and I just tried to find a way to do bigger and better things. And I didn't go back and talk shit to them and go, look at me. My goal was to get them to go, hey, can I, to get them to like me without me having to rub it in their face. That's fucking winning. So I was like, That was my goal.
Love your haters.
You get it? Love your haters. You get it.
Absolutely. So you said something, motivation, right? Now, people get motivated from different things. Like just for example, at the beginning of the year, everybody's in the gym, right? People are motivated. They want to lose weight. They want to do, and then as soon as March rolls around, everybody's gone. It's a freaking desert in there, right? So motivation happens for everybody, but how can you stay motivated? Because from the trailer park to where you are now is a lot of time, man. How do you stay motivated and stay on task, man?
Well, a couple things. One, I would say motivation's temporary, inspiration is forever. So I try to stay inspired, right? And I stay inspired because I'm not done. I'm still putting in work. I'm not done yet. I treat every day like a playoff game. Yep. I set realistic goals that are 30, 60, 90, and 120 days away from me.
Yep.
So whatever I'm in now, that means, I've got a goal that's 2 or 3 months from now. I got to hit that goal. Yeah. And I've had this sickness when you're working your ass off so hard and trying to get somewhere and you're discouraged and you're failing and you're failing and you're failing and you're just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
When you start getting wins, when success starts to happen, you get addicted to continue to win.
Oh yeah.
I'm addicted to winning. So it's like, well, how do we become the biggest one in North Carolina? Well, how do we become the biggest one in the South? Well, how do we become the biggest one in the Midwest? Well, how do we become the biggest American made install? Like, how do we go public? How do we become the biggest in the planet? Like, there's always something to win.
Yep.
And as long as there's something for me to win, I'm so competitive, then I'm going to stay hungry and that drive is going to be there. Because how many times do you see people work their ass off? They get to the top and then they lose everything.
Yes.
I don't want to lose shit. And I don't want the people around me to lose shit. I want all of us to be successful. And I look at it as like life, you have your moments, right? You have minutes and moments that matter. And I look at it as when you spend it with your family, you spend it with your loved ones, you spend it with your friends. I'm getting ready to move from Michigan back to North Carolina. I've been a little sad, man. I've been hanging out with some friends. We've been a little emotional. We're going to long lunches and I'm like, wife's like, you okay? I'm like, I'm sad. But, it's another chapter I can still visit. But when things are going on and you bring people around you and you want to see them be successful. I've seen people get to the top and fall down, and I'm scared to fall down. I'm scared to let people down. And the bigger you get, the more responsibility you get. It's all relative. I don't want to let 2,000 employees down. I don't want to let my family down. And, you get one shot. So if some people are good with, hey, I climbed this mountaintop, I don't need to climb another mountain. I'm going to keep climbing. And if I hit all the damn mountains, then I'm going to start finding a way to dig into the ocean because I need shit to do it.
Hell yeah. And I heard you didn't answer that question selfishly, right? It was selfless, right? So I heard you mention we and us winning and all those things like that, right? So it's important who you have around you, right? And most people have a winning mindset. They're motivated. They have all the tangibles, right? But you got to surround yourself around the right people to do different jobs. Just like, for example, with your business here at PowerHome, right? How do you, just a general question, how do you identify who's the right people that you want around you? How do you identify who you want in your circle to run different parts or aspects of the business, man?
Well, that's hard because it changes and evolves. So PowerHome 1.0, where it's just Kevin and I, it's like, we don't need anybody else. And PowerHome 2.0, where it was Kevin and I, we bring Steve in. It's like, okay, how do we figure that out? All right, let's then I love Steve. At the beginning, Kevin was like, I don't know about Steve. I'm like, I need a mentor. We got to figure this out, And then it was the three of us and it was like, well, how, then Juan. And you figure out as you evolve. So a company is like a child.
Yep.
And it grows and it evolves and it evolves and it evolves. And either the people in that company grow with it, or they sit on the sidelines and the company outgrows them, and then 100%. They get better. People that have worked for you or near you or peers that we just outgrow them and they didn't grow, and you're like, damn, that sucks. Well, they get off on the stop. Train stops for a second, lets people off, puts people back on, and keeps moving. And we have to challenge ourselves to get coached and train and get better to grow with it. And so as we start to grow, pieces come in, pieces come out. Pieces come in, pieces come out. Some pieces can keep up and grow with it. I will say the executive team we've got now has done a pretty good job of growing with the company, as have I. I'm challenging myself all the time, but we're drinking from my fire hydrant. Are there things that I lack? Hell yeah. Are there things that the rest of the team like? Yeah. But I'm always getting coaching and I'm trying to get better. And I'm challenging the executives and making them challenge the directors. Guys, as we evolve, we created all these other positions. We've got to grow with the company or it's going to outgrow us and we're going to be left in the cold. Absolutely. And that's for me too. I don't put myself separated. That's for me too. I eat what we make, right? I preach and practice what I'm preaching. Like I'm all in. I don't want someone to go, well, he's not going to do it. Bullshit. I am grooming myself. I am training myself. I am trying to be better. I do make mistakes. I own my mistakes, but it's the accountability factor and the moment that we're accountable for our actions. And it's okay that we outgrow some people. Maybe it's not for them and things grow too fast and that's okay. But we need people in our leadership team that can grow with it, or we bring some from the outside. And I don't like to bring people from the outside, but sometimes it's needed. And, you know, like yourself, you came in as a field energy consultant, right? We hired you. I think Cassidy hired you as a freaking bartender.
Yes. Kenny hired me.
You came in as an FBC. Then you became a DM. Yeah. And you weren't even the best DM. You were like second, like your whole story's always been your second every time for everything, right?
Yeah, because there's always room to grow.
But you stay. I love that, by the way. Like my wife said, well, where do you want your son to be on a football team or a baseball team or my kids? I said, I want them to be like third or fourth best person on the team. I never want them number one because they fall apart, and I don't want them last because they're discouruged. You put them in the middle and they can grow. But you've grown, and then you became, you know, a regional, and now another promotion's coming brewing. So, you know, some things are happening. But look, you evolved in 3 years. And you're soaking it in. You're a sponge. You're learning. You're surrounding yourself with people who want to win. You're surrounding yourself with people in your life that care and support you and can uplift you. That's the difference maker, Elmondo. And that's the difference between somebody in your role that's getting ready to move up and maybe somebody that could have had your role, but the company outgrew them. And that's not a knock on them, but it's just, that's what happens. God gives us all gifts. And sometimes our gifts limit in certain spots, and then we've got to add other spots in. And that's where we've got to learn to adapt.
And I always used to hear this back in the day, and just to pun off my second place thing, but I like to think I got a red belt mentality, man. The most dangerous person in the gym whenever you go to a karate class is the people with the red belt, because they're just on the edge of getting to that black belt, man. So I like it. So you talked a lot about growth.
Did you do karate as a kid?
I did not, but I got a red belt back there. These belts? I got a red belt back there. I heard about it. So look, man, Rob and duplicate.
Brown was before black. I didn't know it was red before black.
Red and then black, man. So you talked about growth, right? You got to grow. Everything is about growing, right? And some people want to take the elevator, right? And a lot of our listeners out here are probably listening to this and they haven't quite hit 100 grand yet. And a lot of people look at that as success, right? So people say when you get six figures, you've made it, right? How old were you when you first made six figures? Let's hear that, man. I got to hear that one.
Okay, so I was, Hannah was born, I was 18. I started working for Verizon at 21. I was 21.
21 years old and you had made six figures. Did you spend all that money being that young?
I bought a house. I bought a house at 20.
There you go.
And I was on pace to make 100 grand. Now, remember, I was working at Verizon Wireless as a business account manager when cell phones were only 30% penetrated at the time.
Wow.
So this was 01. And I could have made it in 2000, but I'd left a job and took this job because it was a bigger opportunity. So I took a step back to take 2 steps forward.
There you go.
And then I also drove limos on the weekend. So I hustled. And so I made 6 figures. Yeah, I drove limos, dude. I got lots of stories. I was a limo driver on the weekend, baby. I'd be like, you can't smoke in here, but look, $200.
$200, you know, I can get this cleaned out,
baby. Whatever you want, I'll clean this thing out. Yeah, well, what do you want to do? You tell me. I got you.
I got you, man.
I mean, like driving limos is cool because you meet, you network, you meet people, right?
Yeah.
And you hear things and they ask questions. And, you know, I was a young kid driving limos. It was cool. And I had a buddy of mine was doing it too. It was fun. But I was on that hustle. I needed to make more because my wife, you know, she got pregnant again. She didn't want to work. And so it's like, I got to be able to provide all the way. And so I was doing good. I was 21 and I made over 6 figures for a couple of years. And then I opened a business and I had about 12 grand, 12 to 13 grand that I had saved, because making 100 grand a year, I was just paying my bills. We had 2 car payments. We had daycare. Sometimes we had the formula for my second daughter was so expensive, the insurance wouldn't cover it. It was like $100 a can.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I had all of that stuff going on top of trying to save money just to put up. And then when I got fed up, I wouldn't get promoted, and I got a little fired up, and I had an opportunity to open my own business. I did that. So I worked at Verizon for 6 months while I built my business on the side.
Yeah. And
I told my manager that. So I have a great relationship with him now. In fact, I give him kudos in my book. He was one of my mentors, but I was upfront with him. Like, look, I have this opportunity to open a company. So you can either have 0% of me or have 75% of me. And I was his best guy. So he was like, I'll take it. And so I was upfront with him. Yeah. What's bad is when people are doing things and they're not upfront, right? Yeah. And then bad things happen because you're trying to, I'm doing this and I'm not doing that. Like, I was just upfront. Like, look, you're going to get me from 9 to 5, 9 to 4, but after that, I'm working my home security business because I'm building it up. Took 6 months and I could finally walk away.
Yeah. It wasn't always roses and sunshine and all that good stuff like that, right? So I know you started off being what people will call quote unquote successful from 21 years old all the way up to now, right? What is the most humbling experience that you've been through? Just, it could be a personal humbling experience. It could be any of those things. Like, when was that, or what happened during that time? It's a deep question, man. A humbling experience.
So I will say this, watching my parents work so hard. Yeah. And I never had the best relationship with them. My relationship with them now is a lot better than when it was. Yeah. But my brother, my success is his failure. Yeah. And his failure is my success. That's what he believes. And so the more successful I get, the more he doesn't like me. It hurts my feelings. Wow. And so I wish he would. I was like a dad to him because my parents worked so much. So I pretty much raised him. He was 4 years younger than me, and I looked out for him and I did all these things. Yeah. But he has that mentality of he has to be better than me. And if he's not, he hates himself. And I'm just not built that way. God didn't make me that way. Like, I love to be around people that are better than me because then I can get better. 100%. But he's not built that way. And so, when we did a deal with TriVest, and I got to buy a house for a few $1 million in Michigan cash. Yeah. Right. I was embarrassed for my parents to know what I paid for the house, and embarrassed for them to come see it because I was like, felt like, why me? Do I really deserve this? Mm-hmm. It just, so I think, most people have lost stuff. I will say that, that was one time I didn't lose something, but I was so humble. I didn't want to, I was like, did I do the right thing buying this house? And I earned it. I mean, looking back and having therapy, I mean, look, I've got a therapist, and she's like, look, you're always scared to have nice shit and show it off because your family's made you feel bad about it. And now, I'm not trying to be flamboyant. I try to build a brand, but to get credibility, sometimes you got to show stuff off. Absolutely. I don't like to show stuff off. It's not my personality, but sometimes you need that in order to build a brand and then to have credibility. And so, at that moment that my parents came and saw the house and they found out what I paid for it, I was like scared and humbled. Wow. But my dad was like, I'm so proud of you. So it was a good moment, but I was so bothered. Like, so you're going to be like, why the fuck would you spend that? Like, you know what I mean? And to him still, sometimes he's like, how the hell do you buy that? Like, things still bother him. And I'm like, dude, it's fine. He's like, why would you? I'm like, Dad, I live once, calm down. Right. So that was one time. Yeah. And there were several, but another time was in December, the end of December, beginning of January 15 to 16, we almost shut down. And, our CSO, Ben Brookhart, brought it up, many times, where I was at a point in the business where I've never failed, Elmondo. Everything I've done, I've worked my ass off to make it successful. I never failed. Yeah. Right. So a lot of people are like, oh, I've made money and I lost money. I haven't done that. I've always climbed the damn ladder.
100%.
15 wasn't the case. Sold the business and home security. Ben and Eric went on their merry way running the home security business. And Kevin and I went to go do solar. Kevin was still doing some call center work. Yeah. I was trying to build the solar from the bottom up. We weren't getting a paycheck. And at the end of 15, I have Kevin in my ear. We need to shut down. It's losing money. We're not getting paid. We're upside down over $1 million. And I would tell him, it ain't your $1 million. It's mine. I took all the money I had. I put it in there. Yeah. You haven't put shit in. Like we would argue, but it was getting frustrating. And I had a decision to make. And I started calling friends and I started calling peers and I started calling ex-partners. Ben was one of those calls. And I said, look, I've got this business that is going to be successful because I don't fucking lose. Yeah. And I see the light. I just need the cash flow to get there. Because it's a cash flow business. Like we're selling something that's costing money. I can't put it in unless we got the money to continue to sell it. Yep. Ben didn't have any money to give me. If he did, he was like nervous, like he's not involved. So he rightfully said, I don't think I'm going to do that. And that's okay. There were other people that were like, no, hell no. I had a lot of that. So I sold my house. Yeah. And that was humbling to go to my wife and to go to my kids and to tell her, because Kevin had a huge argument. I prayed about it that night and I thought about it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to sell my house. Yeah. I'm going to bust my ass. And if I don't succeed, well, damn it, I gave it 110%. But if I get this thing moving, then great, then I did the right thing. Because if I just like quit now and take it's the easy way and try to cut my losses, there was like 40 employees at the time. What are they going to do? And now I'm letting them down. So it was humbling to go to my wife and get the stink eye and the kids, like we're selling our house on the lake. It's
crazy. Yeah.
And we downsized and we bought a much smaller house cash. And we lived in an apartment for 2 months while we converted that. I mean, it was a shit show. My kids were like, I don't know what's going on. Are we broke? Like, yeah, dude, like we're broke. Like what the hell is going on? Like, yeah, we're broke. Like this is, I'm putting everything back into the company. You're just going to have to hold your breath and figure shit out. Like I got this. Yeah. And they weren't used to it. Not that we weren't broke before, but we had a good life. We living on the lake. Things were nice. All of a sudden, like not anymore. So that created more haters. I'm wondering more people like, look, Waller must have lost his money. Oh, he lost his ass. Business is going down. Yeah. All that did is give me more drive. I mean, if there was any extra push, shit, that just gave it. That made that gasoline in there from 93 to 105 octane because I was like, rock on, baby. I got you guys. Let me get your popcorn, get your Pepsi. I'm putting on a motherfucking show. And I was excited. And so that's what I did. And I grinded. I went out and sold. I did everything I could. Cleaned house, started putting people around it. Like a light bulb went off. Like, here's what you got to do, Jay. And I figured it out. And then the rest is history. But that humbled moment of almost losing everything and selling my home and going all in, everything I've ever worked for, all the jobs, all of the businesses, everything I've ever worked for now was into the company. And I haven't seen a dollar for almost 2 years in there. Wow. And I sold my house and I was all in. That was probably the most humbling experience because that was a test of do you have the huevos to do it or not. Yeah. And that taught me, you got to play life like you got pocket aces.
100%.
You have to play life like that. If you don't play life like that, you're going to get eaten up.
Absolutely.
And that's what that taught me. Awesome, it was a big deal.
Awesome. Have you ever been grief strucken through any of this stuff? Like, have you ever experienced grief to a point to where it kind of triggered you to want to have somebody to talk to, like a therapist or anything like that? Have you experienced anything?
Deep, man. I'm getting all like emotional. You're like the funny guy. I thought we were going to be like cutting up.
We're going to have some fun too, man. We're going to have some fun. Let's hear it, man.
Shit. Woo. Okay. So, when I had the falling out, when I owned the security company, I had a falling out with my parents. I had a falling out with my brother first. Yeah. My brother was drinking and then driving on the job and throwing stuff at people on the road. He was just a fucking asshole. Yeah. And I was like, dude, like you're a liability. I can't have you work here. I wanted him so bad to be my right-hand guy. Yeah. And every chance I gave him, he was a liability. It was a shit show. Yeah. And I had to make a move. I had to protect our company. This was a home security business time. So I was like, you got to go. You're out. Yeah. Well, he went to go do his own company and I've blessed it. That's fine. And then my parents got nasty with me about some stuff. And my mom got nasty with my wife who was pregnant and shoulder checked her.
What?
Yeah. So there was an argument and she kind of just shoulder checked her while she was pregnant. So of course I call my mom. I'm heated. My dad calls me, goes off the handle. It gets ugly. All this is in my book, by the way. I talk about this in my book. And because I'm an open book. I don't hide from anything. And I've got a great relationship with my mom and dad. You know that. People know that. Like, I love them to death, and they're better grandparents than they were parents. And they weren't horrible parents. They just, they were young, raised young. I'm not making excuses. There's things they could have done better, but I forgive and move on. Yeah. However, when that moment happened, my parents were out of my life, and they walked out, quit the job. Wow. They worked for the security company, put me in a bad position. And so because the way that went down, I didn't talk to him for almost a year. And my wife was pregnant with my son. Yeah. And so when my son was getting ready to be born, so here I'm not talking to my brother and I'm not talking to my parents. And my sister's kind of like, who does she talk to? And when she talked to me, they'd all get mad at her. When she talked to them, I wouldn't get mad at her. I didn't care. But, she kind of got thrown into my group with me, right? Yeah. Like, oh, Jayson and Jesse. Like, so it was kind of like, okay, whatever. And she continued to work for me at the time. And so it was a tough time because I had like nobody. This is the first time I didn't have my parents involved in anything. Yeah. And my wife, we went to a church on Easter. Yeah. We always go to church on Easter and Christmas. We go to church more, but that's when we first started. Like, we go to church on Easter and Christmas. Yeah. And I remember sitting there, Elmondo, and I remember seeing these dads and these fathers and these husbands and these sons and these brothers having control of their family, praying over their family. Wow. And it was something I didn't have. And I said, I'm missing that. Wow. Yeah. And I would never grow up a Christian person. Yeah. So I just felt like I had a breakdown. I was bawling. I started praying. I asked God to come in my life. Like, things just changed for me. Yeah. And so that led to me to be a born again Christian, and led to me to repropose to my wife, even though we were already married, to do a bigger wedding on our 10th anniversary in 2011. There you go. And invite my parents and make up with them. But I didn't talk to them for almost a year. Yeah. And that time grieving of not talking to them and bringing, God into my life and changing who I was. We went and got baptized the day before we got remarried, the whole family. Yeah. Was next level. And I think the grieving period of like where it hurt and it was emotional for me was that year where I didn't talk to them. But what it made me learn, because my mom and my dad felt like at the time, because they're the grandparents, they're entitled to see my kids. Yeah. And entitlement it's not true in anything. It's bullshit. There's no such thing as entitlement. Yeah. A relationship is a mutual feeling. It's a mutual, I give and you give, I receive and you receive. Just because we're blood related doesn't give you entitlement to shit, and doesn't mean that you automatically get a relationship. 100%. That your wife is first, God's number one, your wife is number two, your kids are number three, your parents are number four, your siblings are number five. That's how it is for me, but it took me a long time. I didn't figure that out till I was 30. I was 30. Man. So my advice to you and anybody else out there getting married, when you marry your wife, that under God is number one. That's 100%. More important than your mama. It's more important than your dad. And that was a hard thing for me to figure out. My brother still never figured out. I've been divorced, married again, like still has those issues. Yeah. My sister's finally starting to get it. Yeah. It took me till I was 30. And when I figured that out, my parents, I think, because parents want to feel needed. And when they don't feel needed, they get what's going on. They get defensive and they get aggressive. Yeah. They figured it out too, that, wow. And I used to tell them, if you can't respect my circle, you're not in my circle. Well, I'm the mom. Yeah, I'm your mom. I don't give a shit. You get zero entitlement here. I don't care if you're my mom. You get to see my kids when you're respectful of my wife and me. That's how this works. And so me stepping up, just like I stepped up to Liz's mom, I had to step up to my family and really set the boundaries and gain the respect. And that's me evolving, right? Yeah. And then I got it. And now they're there. And like, there's mutual respect. They love my wife. They love my kid. Like, it's the best relationship you can ask for, but it all wasn't that time. I had to grieve. There was a lot of issues. I had to gain control. I had to set the rules and boundaries to protect my family. And I have friends that are brothers to me. We're not blood related. I'd fucking die for them. Yeah. And that's what it's about, relationships.
There you go, man. I heard you mentioning stuff about your wife, man, and how important all those things are to you, man. But as you know, I'm about to get married coming up next month. I know. So congratulations to me. Love you, Marcella. It's my baby girl right there. Now, I get in an argument with my girl a lot. Like I work here for PowerHome. I'm a regional manager here, and I do a lot of work, man. And for all of you guys that don't know, Jayson Waller is a full-time CEO, a father, a husband. He does this podcast. How demanding is it for you, just like on a day-to-day? Like, cause it could be crazy. You're getting pulled here, you're getting pulled there, you got shit to do over there. How demanding is it for you, man? Are you exhausted right now?
I get exhausted sometimes, but I will tell you that I had an interview not too long ago. I'm trying to remember who it was. And I said, how do you do balance? And they said, you can't. It's bullshit.
You can't.
When people say, well, I've got my home life and I've got my work life, you've only got life.
That's it.
And you got to set the expectations early.
Yeah.
Like, look, I'm building this for us. This is what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm going to be here. It's about moments. It's not about time. See, young couples, husbands or wives, spouses, girlfriends, boyfriends, kids, they think it's about time. Let me tell you something. Your wife and your kids, when you have kids, they're not going to remember that you were home every day at 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock because the kids are going to be up playing video games, playing on their phone. Your wife's going to be on Facebook and Instagram, making dinner, hanging out, whatever, right? Yeah. What they're going to remember is the moments that you make a memory. Yeah. Like, hey, I might not go home till 7:30, but I brought you some flowers and I wrote you a letter. Or I might not get home till 8:30, but I brought you some chocolates and some wine. I don't drink wine, but whatever. Or I might have to work on Saturday, but when I get home, we're going out to the movies. It's date night, not normal night. I'm coming to pick you up, be dressed up. Those little things that you can do to make them count are the difference. You got kids, it's the same thing. Like, hey, I try to do date night with my girls, once every few months where I take just one of them out and spend time. I try to hang out with my son every chance I get. He wants to box. I find time. He's going to remember that. Not that Dad was home at 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock and was here. Yeah. But if you're not there, it doesn't matter. If you're going to be home and you're going to be answering phones, you might as well go get your shit done, get home, and then make it about them. Yes. But it's what you can do. How do you build a memory? It's not just sitting there at home. And that's where people lack. Well, I got to be home enough. Yeah, but what the fuck do you do at home? Like, what do? You're going to mow the fucking lawn? You're going to stare and watch a show? Why don't you do something that matters, right? Why don't you work your ass off, take your wife out to a fucking nice meal and a dinner? Take your kid to the fair. Yeah. Like, do something they're going to remember. Like, Dad took me to the fair. They're going to remember Dad was home at 5 o'clock.
No, sir.
So you have life. There's no such thing as balance. And when you set the expectations early, but you're a man of your word or woman of your word, and you execute on what you say. And look, I fuck up. Yeah. Sometimes my wife's like, Jay, I need some attention. I'm like, fuck, you're right. Because that's what happens. You got, all right, I got to get my shit together. But you got to have that open relationship. But on the other token, you got to be able to communicate. A lot of spouses won't talk about work at home. And I think that's failure number one. I think if and when you can talk about work at home, that's key. And you can bring things up to your spouse and get them involved. Yes. They feel important and they're involved in your life. They want to be involved in your life. It was Rob Dyrdek, the guy in Ridiculousness. That's who it was. So I talked to him on the show. He's the most anal person you've ever met. He has a schedule. It's like, I spend 14% with my family, 17% doing this. I'm like, what the shit? He's the one that said every morning, which I did it for 4 days and I stopped. Every morning, he sends a message or an email to his wife and says, where's our relationship stand today?
What?
That's deep, right? You do that every morning. Now you're getting it honest. I'm a 7. Why? You're fixing it. 9. Yes, right? Now you're always engaged and on it and you care. Yeah. It's important.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that. Let me take a shot at that.
I did it for 5 days. It just reminded me I'm going to have to do it again. But it's a good standpoint. Because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what might have bothered them. You don't know that they didn't give you attention. Or you might be feeling guilty and they don't give a shit right now. They got things going on too. They're like, it's fine. Yeah. But it's important that you allow your spouse to have an identity. Yeah. I won't say 100%. Any names, but someone close to me works with us sometimes. He has struggled. His wife has never found an identity. It was hard for him. Yeah. Hard for her. Yeah. You got to make sure that they find an identity. They have friends. They can do things because it can't just be about you. That I've learned as well. Like they got to be able to come out and grow themselves and do their own things. They can't just be Elmondo's wife or Jason's wife. They've got to be their own person.
100%.
That's key.
I can't agree with you more, man. Let's talk a little bit about your book, man. Look, so Own Your Power, no excuses, no bullshit. Your time is now, man. What kind of mindset are you in while you're getting this book done? Like, what kind of mindset are you in, man? What is this all about? What's going on? Is it game time?
It was reflection of everything I've been through. Yeah. Trying to give tidbits and advice and steps to people to live a no excuse life, to get out of their own way, to be relatable to things I've been through and say it's okay. Like they can step through this. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Like that's how I truly feel. And so I just share real personal stories where I open up, and it's usually got a worksheet type thing at the end of it, but it's really a lesson, like create your own map. And then it talks about it, then it challenges you at the end. It talks about a couple stories I've been through to create your own map. And then it applies into business and times you create your own map. And then it gives you a little thing at the end to talk about it. Then, love your haters. You got the shirt there, all these different chapters. You have sections that I tell real stories that have happened that I've been through that people can go, shit, you know what? That's happened to me. Yes. And it's just trying to get them to realize that, look, we're all in this together. Yep. It's not you versus other people. It's you versus you. And you've got to figure out what you're going to do about that. And those 8 steps is what it was for. I was nervous when I wrote it. I was like, I spent about 80 hours writing it, 100 hours writing it. It's like those are the hours just on the book. Yeah. But it was exciting. It brought back some old memories. It rejuvenated me a little bit. And it got me to the point to where I believe it'll do okay. I've got some big people that read the book and they're endorsing the book, and that's awesome. They're telling me it's going to do great. So it makes me feel good. But really, it's what it's about is if it helps one person, it did its job. And I think it'll help other. I think it'll be helpful. And it's nothing special I've done. It's no secret sauce. It's just stories to be relatable with a mindset. It's all about setting those mindset and those 8 principles of changing your life. Because too many times we're scared to take the leap, or we're scared to take, we make an excuse and we're scared to bet on ourselves. And all of these things that we do as human beings, we all have issues. Like I have my 100%. Problems, you have your problems, everybody has shit. And there are some people go through worse shit than we go through. But to our mind, it could be the same equal shit because that's all our mind can handle. Yeah. So people have shit, period. And we have to figure out what we're going to do to not use that the reason why we can't do what we want to do.
Yeah. So who's your targeted audience with this book, man? Like, are you going after the entrepreneur? Are you trying to go after the people that just that want to be successful and they're just trying to get started? Like, who are you going after? Who are you trying to target?
It's a great question. I mean, I would say it's a male or female between the ages of 22 and 55.
Between 22 and 55.
And it's someone that they could be an entrepreneur. Yeah. They could be a career person. They could be a teacher. Or they could be in a relationship that they're struggling to figure it out. Because this ties into relationship. This ties into business. This ties into family. This ties into owning a business. This ties into a career advancement at jobs. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of people like that. Who it won't apply to are the people that just they don't even want to ever bet on themselves. They have every excuse in the world and they're super fucking negative. Do yourself a favor. Don't buy the book because it's going to call you out. It's going to say, why are you saying those things? Why are you feeling those things? Why do you get bothered by people's success? Why don't you get excited about people's success and learn? And so there'll be people that won't buy the book because they're pessimists and they're negative and they're haters. And that's okay. Those are the people that make our octane a little higher and we are successful. But these are people that maybe they're a teacher and they want to be a better teacher. They want to be the principal. Maybe they're a cop and they want to be a sheriff or they want to be a lieutenant. Maybe they're, opening a business and they want to open up another one. Maybe they have a job they hate and they want to open a business. Maybe they're in a sales organization and they want to apply themselves better to move up in the organization. Whatever it is on a career. Maybe they're in a marriage they can't stand. Maybe they're in a marriage that needs work. Maybe they're shitty parents. So they like it. It has all of these stories tied with a mindset that can be applied business and personal. Right. 100%. And so that was the goal. It's, it's not targeted to just one specific person. Anybody that's willing to adapt, listen, and have self-reflection and wants to do better. Yes. That's who the book's for. People who don't want to do better and point the finger, you're wasting your time.
Absolutely. So after this book comes out, what is next for Jayson Waller? You going to start knocking out some book signings? You thinking about going to go speak in front of groups, or what is next for you after this book comes out, man?
I would say, I'm good. I'm still running CEO of PowerHome Solar. That's the main thing is the main thing. That's what I do, right? The book is just a side thing. The podcast is a side thing. I'll do some speaking. I like it. My favorite part of my job at PowerHome is doing the sales meetings and inspiring people. Now they've cut me to once a quarter.
So they don't want you to talk no more, huh?
Well, it's not about them not wanting me to talk. It's about it builds up more. Rather than the same. We all felt it wasn't really their decision. We all talked about it and said, look, if I'm not at each one of them and I do once a quarter, will it be more impactful? And they agreed. And it's allowing, everything can't be me. It's allowing other people to shine. I have to step aside. People can't grow if I'm just there hovering. So it's very important. It's selfless, like you said. I to step to the side and let other people elevate and be the face and do things and inspire. And then I get my time, once a quarter, be like, let's go, right? And so, but that's my favorite part. So inspiring and talking to people, motivating people is my favorite part by far.
Got you. So look, let's have a little bit more fun, man. Let's talk a little bit about the 5 things that Jayson Waller can't live without. Now, this stuff can be materialistic. You can talk about people. You can talk about any of those things. And if we want to, it's your show. We can make it 7 if you want. These are in no particular order. But what is the number one thing you feel like you can't live without?
My family.
There you go. Family is number 1. Okay. What's number 2? Water. Okay. I would imagine so.
You want me to be more like water, no food?
Be deeper than that, man. Think about it. So like I watched this before. I've seen rappers get interviewed and stuff, right? And they're asking them questions. They're like, all right, what 5 things you can't live without? They pull out a big old stack of money. They talk about the watches. They talk about all those things that they can't live without. And family, of course, is a given. Water, food, all those stuffs are a given. You can be materialistic in this situation. But what do you think? But I
can live without any of my tangible items.
Is that
That's
right?
how I truly feel. There's things I love. I love shoes. I love belts. I like watches. I don't really love them. But there's nothing I could live without. I can separate from any of my tangible items. I truly feel that way. And some people can't. I'm like, we're getting ready to sell this house and move to North Carolina. I love this house. I'm a little heartbroken, but I'm going to live without it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
I think, I'll get technical on some. I can't live without face lotion. Right?
You get ashy face.
I use Lemire. Yeah. I like to put stuff on my face. I can't live without Creed.
Yeah.
I'm a big smell good guy. I can't live without mouthwash.
What is that lotion you call? What is that lotion called again? I smell this lotion. What is it?
Lemire.
I'm gonna have to write that down, man. Lemire. I'm gonna have to try that out. Go ahead.
And then the Cologne Creed.
Yes.
Jack Black body wash.
I
have to have
Black
that body wash. I love that. I'm particular. I love to smell good. That's my thing. Like there's a few things I can't control. Like I'm going to be a little chubby here and there, right? Semi-round and but the thing I can control is I want to smell good. I can smell good. And that's just my deal. It's been my deal since when I lived in a trailer park and I didn't have much money, damn it, I was going to smell good. I might not have the clothes, motherfucker. When I walked in, you were like,
ocean spray.
You smell good. Yeah, I found a way. Like I'd save my money and get the cologne because I couldn't afford all the clothes. I could wear the cologne every day. I could only wear the clothes one day and have to wait another week. So, I wanted to smell good. If I couldn't look good, I wanted to smell good. And so I've always had that mindset. And I've always have a full fridge.
Always have a full fridge.
Always.
Yeah.
And my parents were that way because both my parents didn't have much money growing up.
Yeah.
So we didn't have much money growing up, but we had a full fridge. Like my parents had food everywhere. That's how we are. Like the fridge is always like just too full. It's like, what the hell? And it's just, I think it's this thing I overbuy. Like, I'm going to buy 5 gallons of milk, not 1. I'll buy 4 things of eggs, not 1, right? I overdo it. I think also I love my Yeezys. I work out on my Yeezys all day, every day. Those are the best shoes on the planet. I've got nice shoes. Those are my shoes. I got them on now. I wear them everywhere I go. I just love them. Unless it's a photo shoot. I don't like them in pictures, but they're the most comfortable.
There you go.
Food wise, I love chips and salsa.
Ew, man. Chips and salsa. What is this, man? What are you talking about right now, man?
I love the cheap ass paste picante, thick, chunky salsa. I grew up on it with Tostitos chips and get as much salsa on the chip as you can to where it's falling out and shove it in your throat. Like that's
Dude, can you cook? That's my question for you. Can Jayson Waller cook? cook. Like, I mean, and I feel like
Waller
you can grill.
I can grill really good.
There you go.
Kenny Boom Boom's a little better than me at grilling, but I can grill pretty good. I cook a monster chili and a monster vegetable soup. Like they're like the bomb. You're like, holy shit. And I've been told, I don't know how special you got to be to make ramen, but I make the best ramen and the best grilled cheese sandwiches on the planet. That's what I'm told. Now, my ramen, I take a lot of garlic and a lot of salt and pepper, and I take beef bouillon cubes and throw it into the ramen noodles. My kids love ramen noodles, but I make it like a gourmet ramen. They're like, you need to make the ramen. And then my grilled cheese sandwiches, are so buttered. Well, everyone's dairy now, so we don't make them anymore. They're all dairy allergies. But I used to make bomb-ass grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup. Just dip the shit in there.
Dude, everything you're talking about sounds like you've been to prison before, bro. All this sounds like prison food. You sound like you make it swole.
What do you want me to do? I grew up, I had SpaghettiOs. I still eat them with noodles.
No steak, no pasta, no. You just skip all over the place and start naming broke stuff.
I just started eating fish recently, dude. Like, I'm not into classy, rich ass food, man. That stuffy ass food doesn't do nothing for me. Like, you want some caviar? Fuck no, I don't want caviar.
Do some fish eggs, damn it.
Like, I threw up. There's a video that's viral somewhere of me puking eating that shit with Benny.
You're joking, bro.
He won a bet, and I had to eat caviar, and he put as much as and he put so much on a cracker, and I started eating. I started vomiting at the dinner table.
Bro, this is one thing I can say, man. When I
told him, I said, you ever make me do some shit like that again, I'm going to take your arms off and beat the shit out of you.
You're going to have to, man. Look, check this out, bro. I hate going to fancy restaurants now. I used to love it so much, man. I don't know what it is, bro. But I know they all start to taste the same after a while, man. But best restaurant you've ever experienced, like, what do you like? What's your favorite go-to restaurant out in Michigan?
Bella Piatti. My boy Nino owns it. It's the Italian restaurant in front of the Townsend in Birmingham. It is the best. Second would be Hyde Park.
Hyde Park. I've been to Hyde Park before. I love the food there at Hyde Park.
Bella Piatti is amazing. It's an Italian restaurant. It is fucking amazing.
Dude, you live in Detroit of all places, right? It's in the D, right? So funny story. When we came down to your house and you invited the whole leadership team and stuff there, man, Detroit is not a game. So we went out after Jayson wasn't with us. We went out after we left your house, right? And I'm walking down the street. We had just left a little bar or something. It's 2 a.m. And people from Detroit do not play. I learned that the hard way, right? I guess that's why First 48 is there. But a guy walked up to me and asked me, he's like, why are you walking like that? And I was like, what? Why am I walking like that? He's like, yeah, why are you walking like that? And he started following me and following the group that we were with, man. Detroit is a nasty place sometimes, man, depending on where you are. Did you guys pucker up like you ate bad Indian food and walk real fast like you had to go to the bathroom or what? I clutched my purse. I clutched my purse and I was gone. I was out of there, man. The D is not a game, man. And I know.
But I don't live in the D. I live north of the D.
Yeah, but you got to go there to see the football games though, because you're a big Detroit fan.
Yeah, it's fine on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday night or Thursday night. They got security down there. I pull up at the DAC, walk to the game, walk out.
And you walk to the game. And
from
walk
Woodley
out.
Park, yeah. Now, by the way, true story. Before we opened up and I moved to Michigan, Kevin and I would go to Detroit all the time.
Yeah.
We would stay in Detroit. He wanted to drive in the hood, and we would give out, true story, we would give out $100 bills to homeless people to help them out. We felt great. We'd take them, we'd go buy food with them. We'd give them, we'd be like, hey, let's go. I don't want to just give to a foundation. You want to see the impact sometimes, right? And help people out. We would do that. It was amazing. Yeah. But a few times it got a little squirrely. And then Kevin's like, I'm going to knock on the door and see if someone wants to buy an alarm. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? We're going to die.
Oh,
like, why
man.
are you? He's like, it's the middle of the day. I'm like, oh my gosh.
People don't die during the day?
Dude, come on, man.
Have you had anything scary happen to you out there in Detroit, man? I'm not going to lie, bro. Look, bro, I'm not a small guy. I was in Detroit. This guy that asked me that was a small guy. And normally I was like, all right, man, who you talking to if I was here? But I was in Detroit. They had manholes with dust coming out of them. I said, man, I can't talk to this guy any kind of way, man. So have you ever been approached in a scary kind of way where you're in a situation, you're like, what the hell's about to happen? What's going on? What do you have?
Yes. One time before I moved here, we were visiting here and Murph and Kevin were walking with me.
Yeah.
And Kevin is like a fire starter. Like he starts more shit and runs away and never wants to engage in anything. And I'm like being around him. I'm like, dude, can you just shut up? Yeah. And so we were walking and there were all these bikers and they said something and Kevin said something like under his breath to me and they said something. They started walking fast. Steve Murph's like, this is like one of our first times hanging out with Murph. I'm like, shit's about to get real. Murph goes, well, I can throw. I ain't worried. I'm like,
for all all that don't know, Steve Murphy's like 65 years old. So just for the story, but I got you.
Yeah, and looks like Tom Selleck. And the dude's like, I can throw as his head bobs a little bit. And I'm like, all right, man, all right. So nothing happened, thank goodness. We kind of walked and did our own thing. But one thing I learned, I mean, I grew up in Phoenix where there were drive-bys and stuff over in Glendale. Ooh. I didn't grow up and people were like, oh, you grew up in Arizona, Scottsdale? No, that's where rich people lived. I lived over in the hood, in the ghetto, where Vatos Locos was. Like, I lived over there.
¿Cómo está, güey?
Yeah. And so it was a little different. Like my next door neighbor's house got shot up by a drive-by. Like it's just, that's what happens. And so, then moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, or Concord, North Carolina, where I lived in the trailer parks. A little different there. Total different, no gangbanging, but everybody's fighting. Everybody's doing, like, it's just different. Yeah. Then, so I've been told, my dad, used to tell these stories. I'm from Detroit, and I walked 12 miles up the hill to school in the snow. By the way, it was 1 mile and the ground is flat as shit. I saw his house. He lied. He didn't go 12 miles up the ground and saw his lied. But long story short, he always told me, because I've had guns pulled on me as a kid and shit. Like, what? Oh, yeah. And so he said, dude, you need to pay attention to the places you go and who you surround yourself with when you go places. Ooh. And so I'm always like, if I'm in a restaurant or I'm in a bar, I don't like to have my back to a door. To the door. I have to see everything. When I go places, I'm always scoping. Yeah. I'm always paying attention. I'm looking at who's around me. And if I walk 100 feet and those people are still around me, there's a problem. I pay attention to things. And so people be talking to me and I'm trying to multitask, but I'm really evaluating the area. And I've always done that. And I just don't put myself in a bad position. Like if I've got something nice on, I'm going to put it in my pocket. True story. Kevin and I went to Compton. Right,
bro. All play. Listen, bro. Real quick.
Listen, we were in Cali. We were in Cali for a trade show, a solar trade show, and Kevin's like, and "This is a bad story," and he's like, he rents a damn Mustang convertible. So 2 white dudes in a Mustang convertible doesn't look appropriate no matter where you go. Like, why are those two? Like, it doesn't look right. Yeah. Needless to say, it was a small little car. He's like, let's go to Compton. Why?
Bro, why do you keep listening to him?
You know what we should do? We should go find the game. We bought the whole block there. I'm like, I don't want to do. Come on, man. I'm like, fuck it. Go to So we go. True story. This is right after the game came out. This was a few, like 5-6 years ago. Yeah. Game came out. I bought that block. Him and 50 were squashing their beef. Whatever, right? If you're a hip hop fan, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So we go there. And there are some OGs, Elmondo. Like wife beaters, missing teeth.
That's
wife beaters dirty. You can see they got a gun in their shirt and pants, but it's just covered with the wife beater. Yeah. Riding a damn bike with a basket on it, like just staring at us with one eye going this way and one eye going that way. Like, what the you guys doing here? And I'm just like, dude, I don't know if I like being down here. He's like, look, man, like he stops. This guy's got huge balls and never been to fight. Hey, man, we're looking for the game. Does the game live around here? I'm just like, guy's like, oh man, you don't live like. So he goes, ask another guy. So another guy's, well, they used to live over there. What the hell are y'all doing here? It's like, he's like, you reporters? Kevin's like, yeah, we're reporters. I'm like, oh my gosh, right? Well, I have a Rolex on. We go towards the cul-de-sac. We start going there. There's like 4 guys out there, and one has got like a freaking junkyard chain around his neck as his necklace.
That's Loke Dog.
As his necklace.
My boy
as
Loke
his
Dog.
Necklace. Just that as a necklace. Yeah. At first I thought it was diamonds. I'm like, damn. Then I saw, it's just a chain. It's legit a chain. And so as we're pulling up, Kevin's like, here we are. Like, hi guys, in this fucking Mustang, and I'm just like, well, yeah, like, I'm slowly opening the glove box and taking my watch off. It's like Kevin's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm putting my watch over there. They're going to rob us." I said, "Listen,
they're not going to rob us.
I'm going to give them a reason to go. Look at these fucking idiots with these 30,000. I'm going to take their watches. Like, I'm not going to give me your watch. We're not going to get. I don't think they're going to rob us, but I don't want to give them a reason to rob us."
Oh man, dude.
Maybe you're right, man. Maybe you're right. Like, give me your watch. We're over here, motherfucker. This watch can buy him 900,000 bicycles. Dude, would you chill? We're going to do this.
Yes.
So we pull up.
He gonna buy bikes, just bikes with it. That's all he gonna do. With it.
Yeah, and one of the guys was like, "Well, why y'all here, man? The fuck y'all asking questions about game for? What the fuck?" Like,
yeah.
I'm like looking at Kevin like, "I told you, motherfucker, you want to keep that damn watch on." We're just going to work. Kevin's like, "No, we good." He's like, "All right, well, you shouldn't be over here asking questions, man. I mean, he ain't been here in a hot minute." Like all this stuff. Like, "Hey, dude, thanks, man. Yeah, you keep we're out. Like, Kevin, get the fuck out. What are you doing?" He's like, "So we're leaving." I'm like, "Man, so what is it, that movie? I can't think of that movie.
Is it Friday?
No, you remember that? It's that one movie with that white kid that tries to be black real bad, and he's making the rap movie.
8 Mile?
Like this. No, that's Eminem. I'm talking about the comedian, and he's like trying to be a rapper.
All the stuff like this.
Yes,
Malibu's Most Wanted, something like that. I know you're talking.
I felt like Kevin is that guy, and that's what we were doing.
Got
Kevin
the jumpsuit
Most Wanted. Like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's cool to go chill and hang out, but man, we got a convertible with watches bling, and we look as fucking white and dorky as you can look pulling up in there. What are we doing? Can we not move on, dude?
Bro, you got to mix some flavor in your posse, bro. You got to start bringing me around, bro. I got you, man.
Kevin thinks he's cool.
Kevin ain't cool, bro. Kevin ain't cool, man. He ain't even never been in a fight before. So look, what would he do? Like, what would you do, right? Because there's street rules, right? And you grew up in the hood, you grew up in the trailer park, all those things like that. There's street rules, right? So if you were in a situation, a scenario, right? Let's play it this way. If a fight had jumped off and Kevin had got in a fight with somebody, do you believe in fair fights? Would you have tried to help Kevin in that situation? If it's like a 2-on-1 situation,
it depends. So there was one time we were at it depends. So there was one time we were at a Cardinals-Lions game and Kevin is just drunk.
Oh boy.
As it can be. He's being very vulgar, and we're in Arizona. So the Cardinals fans are there. Yeah. And he's a Cardinals fan. I'm a Lions fan. My dad's a Lions fan. Joe's a Lions fan. So we're all sitting there. It's me, it's Kevin, it's my dad, and it's Joe.
Yeah.
And Kevin's up and he's F-bombing. Yeah. All this stuff. We're front row, like 40-yard line.
Yeah.
Behind me is another Cardinals fan like Kevin. He's like, "Hey, man, can you like not cuss? My son's right here." Uh-oh. Kevin's like, "I'm at a fucking football game." And Kevin is drunk and he's running his mouth. And I'm like, looking at him like, "Hey, man, calm down, dude. He's a kid."
Yeah.
"No, man. Like, no." The guy's like, "Dude, if you don't stop, man, I'm going to knock you out."
What?
Kevin goes, "You know what, man? I ain't going to stop. Why don't you hit me right here?" And so Joe elbows me and goes, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I'm going to let him hit him."
It's like an eternal meeting you got to have. You're like, "Oh, if this guy hits him."
He gets one free hit. After that, we'll break it up and deal with it. He gets one free hit because Kevin's asking for it. Let him get it. It's fine. Man. He's going to teach him a lesson.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, they're arguing. And then we break it up. And then the security comes over and gives Kevin a yellow card, a freaking yellow card.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Kevin's like, "What is this, soccer?" He's like, "You need to tone it down or you're out of here." True story. That's one of like 4 times where Kevin's just been inappropriate. And I'm like, "Dude, you need to stop." Where I've just said, "Look, just let him get knocked out. It's cool."
Kevin
one hit.
Is a savage, bro. I went to the casino with Kevin. I ain't gonna even talk about the amount of money he lost. You said this the other day during one of our director's calls, bro. Whatever he is betting against, you should go for the opposite. Every
time.
You will win, trust me. So he bet on the Conor McGregor fight, right? The Conor McGregor versus I forgot what that guy's name is. His last fight that he was just in. Put a ton of money on it. He came up to me and he asked me, he was like, "All right, man, what round is he gonna win in?" I was like, "Man, the other guy's gonna beat Conor in the second round." Conor breaks his freaking ankle at the end of the first round, bro, and the guy wins the fight. He lost his money on it, man. Kevin is just
Kevin called me and asked me before he got there.
Yeah.
"Is Conor going to win?" I said, "No. The guy who wins last usually wins again."
Yes.
That works.
Yes.
So, Elmondo, this was fun. We're going to have to do this again and cut up more.
For sure.
And then any final notes for the fans out there?
No, man, I just want to say I appreciate you for inviting me onto the show, man. You've had a lot of people here, like stars, all those things I get, but you've still been humbled enough to invite one of your employees here on the show and put me on this kind of platform. So I just want to say I'm appreciative of you, man. So thank you for everything.
That's a wrap here on the True Underdog podcast. I appreciate you coming on, Elmondo. This was a 2-part show. Hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you subscribe at iHeart, Apple, Google Podcasts. Check out our YouTube channel. Bam!
Bam, bam, bam.
And that concludes another episode here on True Underdog. If you're interested in hearing more, make sure you subscribe at iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the YouTube channel. You can always visit TrueUnderdog.com, subscribe to all of them. Make sure you check out our newest episodes coming out on Mondays and Thursdays. True Underdog, baby. Bam!